Hey folks, this isn't going to be your ordinary YouTube movie review. I'm not here to break down the frame for frame shots of a film or point out some minuscule editing faux pas. I'm simply going to recommend whether or not a movie is worth the buy and why, based on my pure enjoyment or lack thereof. With that being said, let's talk about Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. I'm a fan of this franchise, although the fourth installment was definitely my least favorite. Yet watching this fifth entry was much more entertaining, because it seemed to recapture some of that same magic that made the first movie so great. Let's start with the cast. Newcomers Kea Scodelario, Javier Bardem, and Brenton Thwaites each do a good job with their characters and hold their own against the formidable likes of Geoffrey Rush, Johnny Depp, and David Wenham, who you may recognize from 300 and Lord of the Rings and Iron Fist. There was a handful of other returning cast members from the previous films, but the ones who didn't return weren't necessarily missed. With the absence of Ragetti and Pinto, there were less goofy slapstick scenes meant for cheap laughs and interrupting the plot. This doesn't mean that the movie wasn't without its characteristic humor, but there was something about the overarching tone that gave me the impression this movie took itself a bit more seriously than the others. Of course, the action is great as always, and the CGI is fun to behold. Any fan of this series will certainly continue to enjoy this latest installment for all the visual effects and dashing daring do. But what it always comes down to for me is whether or not this movie tells a good story. Despite its 2-hour running time, this movie both made me wonder if it was too long and hope it would continue it a little longer, all at the same time. You learn some things about these characters that the previous movies never hinted at, and reveals them in a new light, making their sacrifices all the more meaningful in the end. Also, there's this entire world of witchcraft and lore and politics and piracy happening in the peripheral of the main story that leads me to wonder what else is happening in this world, and could it lead to further adventures with a new crew? I say a new crew because I believe Dead Men Tell No Tales wrapped up a lot of loose ends from the previous Pirates movies very nicely. The ending seemed to be a fitting finale for the entire franchise, a nod of recognition and farewell to the actors who made the franchise what it is. Even the soundtrack swelled through with almost every theme the series is known for, playing like a best-of mashup. Ultimately, I really enjoyed watching this film. It was worth watching on opening night, and I'd watch it again. Sure, we've seen the same plot before, but that's what works for these pirate movies. The chase, the love-hate relationships, the fighting, the supernatural, and Jack Sparrow being his cunning, unscrupulous self. All that being said, Dead Men Tell No Tales is definitely worth a buy. Thanks for watching. For more reviews, recommendations, theories, and predictions, check out our growing channel. We'll even take requests. As always, a like and a sub are appreciated. Stay tuned for more.